Welcome back to the Process Systems Podcast. I'm Vaughn. Joining me today is Amanda Leal, our Sales Operations Manager. One of the things we've been really focused on recently is growth. And part of that growth incorporates new softwares, new platforms that the business runs on. And we have a long history of process improvement, engineering and designing equipment that improve processes. Well, we've taken a lot of that process improvement and put it back into how our business operates in order to be more efficient as we continue to grow. And softwares are one part of the solution, but mapping our process and how we can improve segments of it is something that we're accustomed to doing on an industrial application, and now we're applying it extensively throughout our business. Amanda, you've been pretty focused on the sales side of the software integration from the CRM, but also now a new business operating platform. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing with that?
Yeah, so one of the first things I did when I started was really taking that sales process and defining it more clearly and making sure everybody was aware of it. So training the team on what this sales process looks like. They've been doing this for years, and sometimes it's nice to just take a step back and really go back to basics. With the process itself, rolling that out and finding that there are constantly areas that we're expanding and improving on is a big thing I'm working on right now. Specifically, the CRM tool that's a big part of our sales process.
Right.
And that is something that I really enjoy the CRM. I enjoy being kind of behind the scenes with that. But then also teaching the team why it's important to use it. And that's something that I'm very passionate about. And I think that comes across in my trainings, as well as just in that day-to-day use.
Well, you're a great trainer, but I want to say from the standpoint of the CRM, I love it too. The data that we're able to get and make predictive judgment calls from a strategy perspective is super valuable. Also, we kind of had to rethink how our sales process worked. We were looking at things from how we interface with the client, and now we're looking at it more from a client success perspective, getting the project management team involved earlier, pre-kickoff and so forth. That's been real helpful as we've increased the number of projects and increased the number of project teams out there for what we're doing right now. Essentially, with the improvements in the sales process, it's allowed folks to focus on customer success rather than trying to get the deal signed or anything like that.
Yeah. So, I have a background of being in sales. I've been in their shoes in different realms, and I always looked at, what do I wish I had when it came to tools or just help? Because when you're working in sales, you want to be working with your customer. And all of that data stuff just really can bog you down. And so one of the things with having that visibility sooner for our project teams, I've really taken over the ownership of getting those tasks. And as soon as they have the information and they know, hey, we're probably going forward here, I want to be able to take that step and kind of be that new piece of bridging between, okay, we are going to move forward, and what that kickoff looks like, to really take some of that data entry and kind of paperwork side of things off of the sales guys' plates so they can spend more time with their customers.
Well, I think it's also good that you become the centralized hub of all of the sales operations, because you're like the traffic cop on the sales process, and offering behind the scenes support, getting deal owners what they need, getting the contract teams what they need, making sure the process is followed, and we're able to serve the customer better because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned training a little bit. One of the things that I am having a lot of fun with is this sales cookie factory that we're building. And really, it's just a website that our team internally can go to And if they have a question on one of these processes or how to find something within our CRM, there's a video where there's like a step-by-step walkthrough that they can see instead of having to constantly reach out to me or reach out to each other or reach out to you. And they have a little bit more ownership over it. That way, they're not spending all of their time asking questions on how to do this new process. I'm trying to provide them with the resources so that they can do it on their own.
Well, your factory there that you're developing also acting as like a repository, right? All the product information, all of the sales rep information, all consolidated. And I think that's been a huge advantage of putting together something that says this is how you do your job, right? I was saying the other day that with all the new processes and systems we have in place and then putting in place, it's almost like you're speaking a new language. There's a new vernacular, what's necessarily a job, a project, et cetera. And it's almost like learning how to run vector systems again, because there's all sorts of new definitions. And it's been really interesting as we fine tune how we run through our business, where we can get improvements.
Yeah, and I think it's nice because it gives everybody that opportunity to kind of take a step back and just come at it with a little bit of a different perspective. And everybody from top down, if there's a process in place, I'm holding everybody accountable.
Sure, yeah. And as far as training goes, working with and providing coaching and training steps allow the salespeople to touch more customers that are having problems and offer better solutions.
Yeah.
Well, good. I think from a cultural perspective, I've been here 3 years and it's doubled in size in terms of the number of people as far as what we're doing at Vector in growth. And as we've become a larger organization, the process has to be fluid and rigid at the same time. And so being able to control certain aspects of it and fine tune others allows us to kind of put the guardrails in place as we continue to grow.
Yeah, and there's a quote by Henry Ford, and I'll probably butcher it, but it says, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. And that is something that I really think applies to us. And I know I've said it to the sales guys before, because if we continue to do everything that we were doing 3 years ago, you're never going to be able to scale effectively. So there are things that you have to change, and with that comes growing pains. But if everyone is on board and has that vision, and we're all willing to make those changes in order to succeed, it's gonna look really different.
Yeah, I mean, knowing where you're at in the process and being able to control that process is essential.
Yep.
And that applies whether it's an industrial application, which is what we're used to talking in, or a business application, which is what we're trying to improve here. Yeah, training is going to be a huge thing as we move forward. All new processes, all new softwares, all new definitions and vernacular, and how we train not only our salespeople, but the entire team across the business on how the company works is becoming a more and more prevalent need. And I know you've really invested some time in getting better at training, so that you almost got training for training in order to improve the skills.
Yeah, I've gone to a couple trainings now that really train me on how to be a more effective trainer. And some of the things I learned feel super silly, but that's what makes it stick. So if I can get up at the front of the classroom and put on a Sherlock Holmes outfit, it's going to seem silly, but it's going to be fun, and people are going to remember that. One of the things that I recently was able to deploy was a direct result of that training that I went to, just on teaching how to, like, what some of our systems are. And one that I'm currently working on is specific to document upload into our CRM. That's been a really big need for a while now, and teaching people kind of one-on-one in rushed scenarios how to do that is not an effective use of anyone's time. So I'm really spending the time to put that training together, outline it really in a detailed way. And in doing that, I even found a specific area where I need to go a little bit more in depth. And that helps me be able to deliver the training in a more effective way to the team, so they have those resources. Some of it might be silly, but again, that's what makes it stick.
No, but I mean, everybody's engaged in training at this point. I mean, we've got a weekly standing training meeting at lunch, and the topic gets picked, a week or so in advance, and folks that haven't attended it yet get an invite. In fact, I'm supposed to give one next week. Well, that helps the sales folks because now I'm able to practice presenting and hopefully train other people. And, while I might like standing up there and giving a presentation, having an effective set of skills on making sure people retain what I'm telling them is so valuable. And so I think it's great that you've been exploring new ways to do that and structure the information to make it more effective.
Yeah, some of the key points that I've learned is what do they need to know and what's just nice to know. I have the kind of personality where I want all of the information and I will decide what I need to know and what's nice to know.
Yeah.
All of it is need to know.
Well, I mean, the why is very important.
Yeah.
Why we're doing this.
Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, well, this is the new way. This is the new way because we need the data. It allows us to make smart business decisions, and it allows this customer success improvement that we're working on by more effectively giving handoffs to the project teams, ensuring customer success, scheduled deliveries, and submittal lead time. So we're trying to improve everywhere, and getting our sales team to follow the process so we can do so more effectively is an improvement in and of itself.
Yeah, one of the things that I noticed when I started is I did get a lot of questions from the sales team. Just how do I do this? Oh, hey, can I call you really quick so you can walk me through this? And recently I had that same conversation, but it was specific to a training that I had built that I hadn't deployed yet. And I explained to the sales rep, this is exactly why I'm in this position. I want to help you. I want to give you these tools. I want to make sure you understand it. I'm going to tell you the information. I'm going to show you the information. And then I want you to walk through it with me. And when that salesperson's response was, thank you so much, that's exactly what I need. That just reassured me in how much I love doing this and how important this role is here with Vector.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, ensuring that the process is handed off to the right people. It came up this morning. We were looking at, were people clicking the right boxes, so to speak. It's not just the how, it's why, right? We need to get the information over to the next person so that they can help the customer win.
Yeah.
So it's real effective, and there's a lot of new people, and the Vector cares. We're always trying to indoctrinate in sales the next wave of employees, and we've grown by such a large number of people, and so it's training new people, training people that have been here a while, and training somebody that maybe is kind of set in their ways on how the company is going to run and how you do your part in order to make sure that the customer is successful.
Yeah, I've always had this imagery of what is my puzzle piece in this giant puzzle, and that's something that I want to make sure everybody understands, what your specific role is. How does that affect the company as a whole? And I mean, you mentioned new people. I mean, we recently had a new hire on the sales team, and being able to find where there might be some gaps in the sales process or in training has been very eye-opening to see, okay, when we have somebody new coming on, what do we need to make sure they're doing? Because I work directly with that new hire to make sure they understand the CRM and they understand what the process is from a basic standpoint, just so they can get started, but then diving a little bit deeper.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of folks are used to, chopping with a dull axe. And instead now you're saying, look, let me sharpen that axe for you. Let me give you the tools you need, maybe something better in order to do your job more effectively.
Absolutely.
And that's something that, number one, is shared knowledge. And number two, there's a lot of people changing roles, and it helps to kind of blend that information, but have a standardized source and a standardized part of the process.
Yeah, and the sharing of information becomes very obvious in a training environment. In the last training that I gave, one of the guys on the team said something that I was like, oh my gosh, I hadn't thought about explaining it that way. And I just asked him to explain it to the team. And there was a few people that were like, oh, that makes so much more sense. So having that shared knowledge, just being in a room together, being able to talk about these things instead of being so siloed, helps our team as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the big trainings I give on an annual basis is the overall strategy. And being able to realize that it's not effective to lock people in a room for 2 days and expect them to just, death by PowerPoint. Although it's my preferred method of torture.
You are good at that.
Yeah, it's my preferred method of torture. But, what I'm saying is breaking that down into regular bite-sized bits so that the big picture, the big why we're doing it this way becomes apparent. Is really helpful.
Yeah, and being able to take those 2 days and give more of that overview and kind of that future vision, as well as reflecting on the last year, I think becomes very effective, as opposed to trying to do all of that and also provide training, because it's just information overload at that point. So if we break into even like quarterly trainings of like, let's really focus in on the specific topic that we've either had a lot of questions on, or maybe there's been a lot of inconsistency. Let's try to get everyone in a room on the same page and give them this information, reiterate it a few different times, have them present it back to us in a way, or present it to each other to make sure that that understanding is there. And then, okay, go back. You're going to now have, say, 3 months until the next one of these. But next month, I'm going to kind of be seeing what am I still getting questions on that we covered. So now I can have maybe like a micro training to reiterate those topics.
Well, and, again, we're trying to improve the process, right? Improve the volume of information from the customer into our system, and make sure that our manufacturing processes, our execution with engineering and project management, our supply chain and so forth, that data is immersed. And to get everybody doing it the right way so that data is useful is the overall goal, and to do so more efficiently.
Absolutely.
Well, good. Well, training's one of those things where we're heavily invested in. It's about developing our people. We're really big on culture here at Vector Systems. We unfortunately had somebody pass away on the team, and it was amazing to see the turnout for his family's support from the people that gentleman worked with. So Ryan West passed away, and having the family be supported by Vector Systems emotionally was a really neat thing, and that culture to me was so important to see firsthand.
Yeah, and it's something that in the jobs I've been in before, they always say they have this great culture, but you never see it. And it wasn't until I started working here that you really do see it all the time, just in the way that the employees enjoy coming to work, and in the way that we have, our State of the Unions, just getting everybody together and kind of having that rally. It just reinvigorates you and it makes you want to be here. And I think that's something that Vector does really, really well. And it's nice to be a part of. Yeah,
no, I agree with you. And it's good when you can grow that too. And, we've implemented the Vector Grow With Us plan, where folks that are interested in moving departments can kind of apprentice, and if it's a good fit, that we can move forward and transfer people that are ambitious to grow and help us grow as a company. And I think that's a huge part of culture.
One of the things that I thought about when we were talking CRM a little bit ago was when I started, just really identifying those deficiencies in the process and adding workflows in the CRM so we can be streamlined is something that has helped our team a lot. The system is generating tasks for each person, so we are able to stay on track. Instead of having everything in the air and all of these different lists all over the place, you have a little bit more direction and clarity on, okay, what do I need to do next?
Yeah, and we can get dashboards that effectively show what's going on and where we are lagging or whatever. And that data is super critical to be accurate, right? And
Yeah.
it's only as good as what you put in.
And we even found a deal just by reviewing that data recently.
Yeah, I mean, the fortune's in the follow-up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, making sure that, we had a process that was old as the time could be, with an ISO 9000 compliance. And then we realized, hey, we have this system, why not follow how the system was designed to flow? And then flow that into the next system, and not to be funny, but institute workflows to improve those.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that's been a key growth aspect, almost to the point where we had to implement it all at once in order to get the thing off the ground. But overall, business structure wise, putting all that data together, but then now training everybody on how to use the machine to effectively guide the business.
Absolutely. And that's where that cookie factory comes in.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you joining us on the Process Systems podcast today, and I look forward to your efforts as we continue to roll out more trainings and the new processes.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yep.